The anticipated 30% rise in global energy consumption by 2030 is poised to significantly affect the manufacturing, transportation, and real estate sectors. Various authoritative sources, including the U.S. Energy Information Administration (EIA) and Deloitte, have detailed the implications of this increase, driven by factors such as population growth, economic development, and the transition to electrification. Key projections and trends. Global energy consumption and emissions. According to the EIA's International Energy Outlook 2023, global energy consumption is expected to grow substantially, with CO2 emissions also on the rise. This trend is attributed to population growth, economic expansion, and increased energy demand across various sectors. Despite improvements in energy efficiency, the growth in energy consumption, particularly in manufacturing and residential sectors, is set to outpace efficiency gains. Sector-specific impacts. Manufacturing. The manufacturing sector is projected to experience the most substantial growth in energy demand, especially in regions like India, Africa, and Asia. EIA forecasts that the demand for liquid fuels in industrial processes, particularly in chemical production, will rise significantly. This increase is primarily due to heightened manufacturing activities, which outweigh declines in energy intensity. Transportation. The demand for transportation services worldwide is expected to rise, with electric vehicles (EVs) anticipated to account for a significant portion of new vehicle sales by 2050. The transition to EVs is likely to alter traditional fuel consumption patterns, increasing reliance on electricity instead of conventional liquid fuels. Real estate. The demand for electricity in buildings is expected to surge, driven by trends towards electrification and improved living standards. EIA projects that electricity usage in residential and commercial buildings will grow at a pace that significantly exceeds natural gas consumption. Renewable energy and electrification. Both EIA and Deloitte emphasize the critical role of renewable energy in addressing the rising electricity demand. EIA predicts substantial growth in electricity generation capacity from renewables, estimating a 54% to 67% increase by 2050, alongside a similar growth in nuclear power capacity. Deloitte highlights the increasing demand for electricity from data centers, which are becoming major consumers due to advancements in AI and other technologies. Common themes and differences. Common themes. A consensus emerges from both reports regarding the inevitability of rising energy demand and the associated challenges of increased emissions. Both sources advocate for a diversified energy strategy that incorporates renewables and nuclear energy to mitigate environmental impacts. Differences. While EIA provides a broader overview of energy consumption trends and emissions, Deloitte delves into specific dynamics, particularly the impact of data centers on electricity demand and the challenges utilities face in sustainably meeting this demand. Timeline of events and future outlook. 1. 2023. EIA publishes its International Energy Outlook, projecting significant increases in global energy consumption and emissions through 2050. 2. 2024, Deloitte reports a resurgence in U.S. electricity demand driven by industrial reshoring and the growth of data centers. It predicts a notable increase in electricity demand from these centers, indicating a shift in energy consumption patterns. 3. 2025 and beyond. Both EIA and Deloitte underline the urgent need for utilities to adapt to rising demand by integrating advanced technologies, enhancing grid infrastructure, and exploring new energy sources, including nuclear and distributed energy resources. Conclusion. The projected rise in global energy consumption by 2030 presents profound implications for various sectors, necessitating a strategic shift towards sustainable practices. Addressing the challenges posed by increased demand and emissions will require a multifaceted approach involving investment in renewable energy, modernization of grid infrastructure, and development of a skilled workforce to effectively manage this transition. Implications for specific sectors. Manufacturing. The manufacturing industry faces the greatest challenges regarding energy consumption. As companies expand operations to meet rising global demand, they will need to invest in energy-efficient technologies and processes to mitigate environmental impacts. The reliance on liquid fuels, particularly in industrial applications, will necessitate a shift towards cleaner energy options. Transportation. In the transportation sector, the shift to electric vehicles represents both a challenge and an opportunity. As EV adoption rises, the demand for electricity will increase, prompting the need for expanded charging infrastructure and changes in energy sourcing. Policymakers and industry stakeholders must work together to facilitate this transition while ensuring the sustainability of energy sources. Real estate. The real estate sector will witness a transformation in energy consumption patterns as buildings become increasingly electrified. Developers and property owners will need to prioritize energy-efficient designs and incorporate renewable energy sources to meet the growing demand for electricity. This shift will also require collaboration with utilities to ensure that the grid can handle increased loads. Strategic recommendations. 1. Investment in renewable energy. Stakeholders across sectors must prioritize investments in renewable energy technologies to meet rising electricity demand sustainably. 2. Grid modernization. Utilities need to enhance grid infrastructure to accommodate increased demand, particularly from data centers and electric vehicles. 3. Policy support. Governments should implement policies that encourage the adoption of clean technologies and support the transition to a low-carbon economy. 4. Workforce development. As industries evolve, there is a critical need for a skilled workforce capable of managing the complexities of new energy technologies and systems. 5. Collaboration across sectors. A multi-stakeholder approach is essential to address the challenges posed by rising energy consumption. Collaboration between manufacturers, transportation providers, real estate developers, and utilities will be key to achieving sustainable energy solutions. In summary, the anticipated rise in global energy consumption by 2030 necessitates a comprehensive response across multiple sectors. By prioritizing renewable energy, modernizing grid infrastructure, and fostering collaboration, stakeholders can navigate the challenges and seize opportunities presented by this shift. The anticipated 30% rise in global energy consumption by 2030 has far-reaching implications for the manufacturing, transportation, and real estate sectors. The projections from credible organizations like the U.S. Energy Information Administration (EIA) and Deloitte reveal a complex landscape where traditional assumptions about energy use efficiency gains and emissions are challenged. Counterintuitive information. 1. Energy efficiency versus consumption growth. Despite advancements in energy efficiency, the growth in energy consumption is projected to outpace these improvements. This counterintuitive outcome suggests that even as technology improves and energy-saving measures are implemented, the sheer increase in demand driven by population growth and economic expansion means that total energy consumption, and consequently emissions, will continue to rise. This challenges the often-held belief that increased efficiency directly correlates with reduced overall consumption. 2. Sector-specific dynamics. The manufacturing sector, particularly in developing regions like India and parts of Africa, is expected to experience the most significant increases in energy demand. Contrary to the expectation that technological advancements would lead to a decrease in energy use, the growth in manufacturing activities is anticipated to eclipse any declines in energy intensity. This indicates that the global economy's shift towards more manufacturing-based economies can lead to higher energy needs rather than a more sustainable model. 3. Transportation trends. The expectation that electric vehicles (EVs) will dominate new vehicle sales by 2050 is juxtaposed with the continued high demand for liquid fuels in transportation. While EV adoption is increasing, the overall demand for transportation services is anticipated to grow due to rising population and income levels. This highlights a paradox where the transition to cleaner technologies does not immediately reduce the consumption of traditional fuels as the total volume of transportation increases. For real estate and electricity demand, the projection that electricity demand in buildings will grow significantly faster than natural gas consumption challenges the traditional view that natural gas would remain a dominant energy source for heating and cooking in residential areas. This shift towards electrification reflects changing living standards and preferences, suggesting that as societies modernize, they may increasingly rely on electric solutions even in contexts where natural gas has been historically favored. 5. Renewable energy's role. While there is a strong push for renewables to meet rising electricity demand, projections indicate that the growth in renewable energy generation may not suffice to curtail the rise in CO2 emissions. This counters the common perception that increasing renewable energy deployment will automatically lead to a reduction in emissions. It suggests a more nuanced view of energy transitions where the pace of renewable adoption and the scale of energy demand must align to achieve true sustainability. 6. Data centers as major consumers. The rapid growth of data centers fueled by advancements in technologies such as AI is expected to lead to a significant increase in electricity demand. This projection challenges the idea that digitalization inherently leads to less energy consumption. Instead, it shows that the burgeoning demand for digital services and cloud computing can create substantial new energy needs, further complicating the landscape of energy consumption. 7. Utilities facing challenges. The expectation that utilities will easily adjust to rising demand is countered by the reality of increased infrastructure costs, supply chain disruptions, and the need for advanced technologies to modernize grid systems. Utilities are not only facing the challenge of meeting increased demand but are also grappling with escalating costs due to extreme weather events and the slow pace of regulatory approvals for necessary investments. 8. The role of nuclear energy. The renewed interest in nuclear energy as a solution for reliable low-carbon electricity generation is a striking shift from previous decades when nuclear power faced significant opposition. The potential for nuclear energy to complement renewables in meeting baseload power needs suggests a re-evaluation of energy strategies that may have previously dismissed nuclear solutions. 9. Carbon management complexity. The exploration of various carbon management strategies, such as carbon capture and storage (CCS) and direct air capture (DAC), highlights the complexity of achieving net zero emissions. The belief that simply transitioning to renewable energy will solve emissions issues is challenged by the reality that residual emissions will still persist and require innovative solutions to manage effectively. 10. Workforce development needs. The burgeoning demand for a skilled workforce in the energy sector, particularly in advanced technologies and clean energy solutions, reveals a significant gap in current capabilities. The expectation that the existing workforce can seamlessly transition to new roles is misleading. There is a pressing need for targeted education and training to meet the demands of a rapidly evolving energy landscape. Conclusion. The anticipated 30% rise in energy consumption by 2030 presents a myriad of counterintuitive insights that challenge conventional thinking about energy use efficiency and sustainability. The complexities of sector-specific dynamics, the changing nature of energy demands, and the evolving landscape of technology and policy underscore the need for a multifaceted approach to energy management. Addressing these challenges will require innovative strategies, investment in new technologies, and a commitment to sustainable practices across all sectors. The anticipated 30% rise in global energy consumption by 2030 has crucial implications for the manufacturing, transportation, and real estate sectors. While many reports touch upon various aspects of this energy consumption growth, several critical elements are often overlooked which warrant a deeper examination due to their potential impact on sustainability, economic stability, and technological innovation. 1. Regional disparities in energy demand growth. While reports frequently highlight global trends, the specific regional impacts are often less emphasized. For instance, the EIA points out that the most significant energy demand growth will be seen in regions like India, Africa, and parts of Asia. This regional focus is significant for several reasons. Investment opportunities. Understanding where demand is surging can guide investment in renewable energy infrastructure and technologies. Companies and governments looking to invest in energy production or efficiency initiatives should prioritize these high-demand regions. Policy implications: local governments may need to formulate tailored energy policies that account for indigenous resources and infrastructure needs. Ignoring these nuances can result in ineffective policy measures that do not address the unique challenges of each region. 2. The role of data centers in energy consumption. The explosion in data center energy consumption driven by AI and big data is another critical aspect that can be overlooked. Deloitte forecasts that data centers will account for a significant portion of electricity demand, with projections indicating an increase from 180 to 720 TWh by 2030. Infrastructure strain: the rapid growth of data centers will strain existing power generation and distribution infrastructures, necessitating substantial upgrades and investment in grid capacity. Utilities may need to explore innovative solutions to meet this demand without compromising reliability. Sustainability challenges: data centers are significant energy consumers and often rely on fossil fuels. The push for renewable energy sources must be matched with a strategy to manage the carbon footprint of these data centers. This may involve investing in renewable energy sources or implementing energy-efficient technologies. 3. Electrification of transportation and its ripple effects. The transition to electric vehicles (EVs) is anticipated to reshape energy consumption patterns in transportation significantly. While the shift is often seen as beneficial for reducing emissions, several implications are frequently understated. Charging infrastructure needs: as EV adoption grows, there will be a critical need for an extensive and efficient charging infrastructure. This necessitates investments in both technology and physical infrastructure, which can create economic opportunities but also pose challenges related to urban planning and resource allocation. Grid demand management: the influx of EVs will increase electricity demand, particularly during peak hours. Utilities will have to implement smart grid solutions and demand response programs to manage this load effectively, ensuring that the grid remains stable and reliable. 4. Impact on real estate and urban planning. The anticipated rise in energy consumption also has significant implications for the real estate sector, particularly concerning building energy consumption. Electrification trends: as the demand for electricity in buildings grows, real estate developers will need to consider energy efficiency features in their designs. This represents an opportunity for innovation in construction materials and technologies, but also requires compliance with new regulations and standards. Urban heat island effect: increasing electrification and energy use can exacerbate urban heat islands, leading to higher cooling demands and greater energy consumption. Urban planners must incorporate strategies to mitigate this effect, such as increasing green spaces and promoting reflective building materials to enhance urban resilience. 5. The need for advanced energy management technologies. Both EIA and Deloitte highlight the importance of integrating advanced technologies to meet rising energy demands. However, the specifics of how technology can be harnessed are often glossed over. Smart grids and IoT: the integration of smart grid technologies and Internet of Things (IoT) devices can help utilities optimize energy distribution and consumption. This technology enables real-time data collection and analysis, facilitating better demand forecasting and resource allocation. Energy storage solutions: as renewable energy sources become more prevalent, the need for effective energy storage solutions will grow. Advanced battery technologies and other storage systems will be crucial in balancing supply and demand, particularly during peak usage times. 6. Workforce development and skills gap. The transition towards a more electrified and technology-driven energy landscape will create a demand for a skilled workforce, yet this issue is often overshadowed by discussions of technological advancement. Training and education needs: the energy sector will require a workforce adept in new technologies, including energy management systems and renewable energy technologies. Educational institutions and companies must collaborate to create training programs that equip workers with the necessary skills. Diversity and inclusion. The energy sector's workforce must reflect the diversity of the communities it serves. Efforts should be made to ensure that underrepresented groups have access to training and employment opportunities in this evolving field. 7. Carbon management strategies. While there is a strong focus on transitioning to renewable energy, carbon management strategies are crucial in addressing existing emissions. The reports highlight carbon capture, utilization, and storage (CCUS) but often do not delve into integration with renewable strategies. Effective carbon management must be integrated with renewable energy strategies to ensure that emissions reduction targets are met without stifling economic growth. Public perception and policy support. There remains a significant need for public education and policy support for carbon management initiatives. Policymakers must engage with communities to build trust and support for these strategies, which can often be viewed with skepticism. Conclusion. The anticipated 30% increase in energy consumption by 2030 will have far-reaching implications across various sectors. A nuanced understanding of regional disparities, data center energy demands, electrification impacts, advanced technology integration, workforce development, and carbon management strategies is essential. By focusing on these often overlooked aspects, stakeholders can better prepare for the challenges ahead and leverage opportunities for innovation and sustainability in the energy sector. 1. Sector-specific energy demand growth. The anticipated 30% rise in global energy consumption by 2030 will significantly impact the manufacturing, transportation, and real estate sectors. The manufacturing sector is expected to experience the most substantial demand increase, particularly in emerging economies like India and Africa, where industrial activities are surging. This growth in demand for energy-intensive processes, especially for liquid fuels in chemical production, indicates that manufacturing will continue to be a major driver of energy consumption, potentially outpacing advancements in energy efficiency. In the transportation sector, the shift towards electric vehicles (EVs) signifies a transformative change, suggesting a future where electricity will replace traditional fuels as the primary energy source. Meanwhile, the real estate sector will witness a marked increase in electricity demand due to electrification trends and improved living standards, with residential and commercial buildings consuming significantly more electricity compared to natural gas. Understanding these sector-specific dynamics is crucial for developing targeted strategies to meet rising energy demands and reduce emissions. 2. Integration of renewable energy and electrification. Both the EIA and Deloitte highlight the critical role of renewable energy in addressing the escalating electricity demand driven by various sectors. With projections indicating a substantial increase in electricity generation capacity from renewables, 54% to 67% increase in nuclear sources, the energy transition is becoming more pronounced. The transition to electrification across manufacturing, transportation, and real estate sectors underlines the urgency of integrating renewable energy sources to meet new demand sustainably. As data centers influenced by AI advancements become significant electricity consumers, the demand for renewables will surge. This reliance on renewable energy necessitates a robust strategy to enhance grid infrastructure, ensure energy security, and mitigate the environmental impacts of rising energy consumption. The commitment to a diversified energy strategy incorporating renewable technologies alongside nuclear power is essential for achieving sustainability goals amidst increasing energy demands. 3. Challenges faced by utilities in meeting demand. Utilities are on the front lines of addressing the anticipated surge in energy demand, but they face considerable challenges in adapting to this dynamic landscape. Issues such as supply chain disruptions, escalating costs from extreme weather events, and prolonged rate case approvals hinder their ability to modernize infrastructure and respond effectively to demand increases. The projected higher electricity prices due to rising wholesale rates and increased distribution expenses may lead to affordability concerns for consumers. Furthermore, utilities must navigate the complexity of integrating advanced technologies and distributed energy resources while ensuring grid reliability and sustainability. As data centers and electrification trends reshape the energy landscape, utilities need to innovate and strategize effectively to meet rising demands without compromising service quality or affordability. 4. Workforce development and skills gap. The energy transition and the anticipated increase in energy consumption will necessitate a skilled workforce capable of navigating the evolving landscape. Despite recent employment growth in the utilities sector, a significant skills gap is emerging, particularly in specialized fields such as nuclear energy, data center management, and DER integration. Utility companies are adopting various strategies to develop their workforce, including record hiring efforts, specialized training programs, and community partnerships to engage underrepresented groups. As technologies evolve, utilities will need to cultivate a culture of continuous learning and innovation to keep pace with changes in the industry. Ensuring that the workforce is equipped with the necessary skills will be crucial in managing the transition to a more electrified and renewable energy system, ultimately shaping the sector's future in the face of rising energy consumption challenges. 1. The Industrial Revolution. 18th to 19th century. The Industrial Revolution marked a significant turning point in history as it transitioned economies from agrarian to industrial. It began in Britain in the late 18th century and spread to other parts of the world. This period saw a massive increase in energy consumption due to the rise of factories, mechanized agriculture, and transportation systems like railroads. The demand for coal surged, leading to increased carbon emissions and environmental changes. This historical case highlights the profound implications of rising energy consumption on manufacturing processes, urbanization, and societal structures. 2. The oil crisis of the 1970s. The oil crisis was characterized by a sudden spike in oil prices due to political instability in the Middle East, notably the Yom Kippur War in 1973 and the Iranian Revolution in 1979. These events caused widespread energy shortages and economic turmoil, particularly in oil-importing countries. The crisis highlighted the vulnerabilities of heavy reliance on fossil fuels and spurred a global reassessment of energy policies promoting energy efficiency and alternative energy sources. The implications for transportation and manufacturing were particularly severe as industries faced higher costs and supply chain disruptions. 3. The rise of renewable energy in the 21st century. In response to the challenges posed by climate change and rising energy consumption, the early 21st century has seen a significant shift towards renewable energy sources. Countries worldwide have begun investing heavily in solar, wind, and other renewable technologies to meet growing energy demands while reducing carbon emissions. This transition has profound implications for the manufacturing sector, which is increasingly reliant on sustainable practices and technologies, as well as the transportation sector, which is moving towards electric and hybrid vehicles. The real estate sector is also adapting, with a growing emphasis on energy-efficient buildings and sustainable urban development. The anticipated 30% rise in global energy consumption by 2030 will have significant implications across various sectors, including manufacturing, transportation, and real estate. This increase is driven by continued population growth, economic expansion, and technological advancements, necessitating strategic adaptations within these industries to meet the demands of a changing energy landscape. Implications for key sectors. 1. Manufacturing. Increased energy demand. The manufacturing sector will likely experience the most substantial growth in energy demand, particularly in developing regions such as India and Africa. As manufacturing activities ramp up, the sector's reliance on energy-intensive processes, particularly in chemical production, will drive an increase in liquid fuel consumption. Sustainability initiatives. Manufacturers will need to invest in more energy-efficient technologies and processes to mitigate the environmental impact of increased energy consumption. This may include transitioning to renewable energy sources and adopting circular economy practices to reduce waste and emissions. 2. Transportation. Shift to electric vehicles (EVs). The transportation sector is poised for a major transformation with the expected increase in EV adoption. By 2030, electric vehicles may account for a significant portion of new vehicle sales, reshaping fuel consumption patterns and reducing reliance on traditional liquid fuels. This transition will necessitate substantial investments in charging infrastructure and grid enhancements to support the growing demand for electricity. Public transportation and logistics. Enhanced energy efficiency in public transportation systems and logistics networks will be essential. Investments in electrification and alternative fuels alongside improved urban planning can help accommodate the rising energy consumption while minimizing emissions. 3. Real estate. Growth in electricity demand. The real estate sector will see a surge in electricity demand driven by an increasing number of smart homes and commercial buildings that utilize advanced technologies. This trend towards electrification will significantly outpace natural gas consumption, necessitating upgrades in infrastructure and grid capacity. Sustainable building practices. The rise in energy consumption will push developers to embrace sustainable building practices, focusing on energy-efficient designs, renewable energy integration, and smart technologies that optimize energy use. Energy generation trends. Renewable energy expansion. To meet the growing electricity demand, substantial investments in renewable energy sources such as solar and wind will be critical. Projections indicate that renewable energy could account for a large share of new electricity generation capacity, necessitating a shift in investment strategies and regulatory frameworks to facilitate this transition. Nuclear energy utilization. As part of a diversified energy strategy, nuclear energy is expected to play an increasingly important role in providing reliable baseload power. Investment in advanced nuclear technologies such as small modular reactors can help meet the energy demand while minimizing emissions. Challenges ahead. Grid infrastructure. The current grid infrastructure may struggle to meet the rising energy demand, particularly with the integration of distributed energy resources (DERs). Utilities will need to enhance grid flexibility, reliability, and capacity to accommodate increased loads from sectors like data centers and electric vehicles. Policy and regulation. Effective policy frameworks will be essential to drive the transition towards sustainable energy consumption. Governments will need to incentivize renewable energy adoption, support energy efficiency measures, and ensure equitable access to energy resources. Future outlook and strategies. 1. Investment in technology. Industries will need to invest in advanced technologies that enhance energy efficiency and support the integration of renewables. This includes smart grid technologies, energy management systems, and innovative storage solutions that can help manage peak demand. 2. Workforce development. As the energy landscape evolves, there will be a growing need for a skilled workforce capable of navigating new technologies and sustainable practices. Training programs and educational initiatives will play a critical role in preparing the workforce for the challenges and opportunities presented by the energy transition. 3. Collaborative approaches. Stakeholders across sectors should collaborate to develop integrated solutions that address energy demand while minimizing environmental impacts. Partnerships between private companies, government agencies, and research institutions can foster innovation and streamline the transition to a more sustainable energy future. For long-term sustainability goals, companies will need to align their strategies with broader sustainability goals, focusing not only on immediate energy needs but also on long-term environmental impacts. This holistic approach can enhance corporate responsibility and improve resilience against future energy challenges. Conclusion. The anticipated rise in global energy consumption by 2030 presents both challenges and opportunities for the manufacturing, transportation, and real estate sectors. Addressing these challenges will require a multifaceted approach incorporating technological advancements, workforce development, and collaborative strategies to ensure a sustainable and resilient energy future. By investing in renewable energy, enhancing grid infrastructure, and adopting sustainable practices, industries can navigate the complexities of rising energy demand while contributing to a greener planet.